Welcome to Waking News. I'm Wes Potts.
I'm Alex Kahneman.
And today we're going to talk about the pipe bomb stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sure all of you have heard a lot about it. The news has been going crazy about it, and obviously it should.
Yeah, I mean, it was... I remember, what day was that? That was Thursday last week?
Thursday last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a total of 12 or 13 that have been...
I mean, it's obviously raised... Last time that I checked on it, it was like 6.
Yeah.
But it was like the Obamas, the Clintons, CNN, some other guy, Brennan.
Yeah. He also sent one to Robert De Niro.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was... I didn't realize that for the longest time. Like, because I kept seeing his picture.
Yeah, right.
Because I saw, like, a meme that was like, look, it's a actor. Like,
yeah, well, and then Robert De Niro's whole thing was, like, he's been very vocal about how much he does not like Donald Trump. And
right.
He even, like, cursed at him at an award show or something. And then Donald Trump kind of has, like, the back and forth with him.
Donald Trump has a back and forth with everyone.
Yeah, anybody who says anything to him.
But, no, that was nuts. That day I think I woke up initially to see that, like, just the Obamas and the Clintons and CNN had gotten it. And then, like, for all of YouTube all day and Facebook was just filled with, like, the live feed of the whole incident and stuff.
Yeah. But I think really what we wanted to do today, though, was instead of just, like, kind of, like, detailing all of the little bits and pieces about, like, all the stuff you expect to hear, we kind of both decided to take a look at, like, how people have been reacting to it and just kind of, like, how the hive mind that is society has responded to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that the first thing that I wanted to note was that there was, like, an overwhelming call for, like, political unity, like, right after the first news story started being let out, which I think is super important. It's something that we really need to have happen right now because I feel like, Republicans and Democrats have basically just been opposing sports teams instead of political parties who are trying to better the country. We view them as opposite sides rather than as both sides of the Americans.
Well, I think in the past week, what I've noticed, especially like on YouTube, is there's a lot more. I mean, obviously, there's a vote that's coming up on the 6th, but there's a lot more ads. It feels like than there already were.
Yeah.
That are like, you got to get out, you got to vote, you got to change the system and everything if you want to change the system. And Vox, did you see all the stuff that Vox has been putting out?
No.
Vox is like has a whole like 4 or 5 episodes of things now that just came out within the past like 3 days.
Wow.
About politics and about like different agendas and different kind of things that are going on, and like they have political analysts on there now and everything like that. And I think that's been a really interesting situation to see come from this. I don't know if they had that planned already.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the hard thing with this is obviously there's a vote coming up.
Right.
But I feel like there's an even more of a dialogue now with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely increased the way people have kind of like talked about the vote that's coming up because, like there's been claims about how like all of this was done like at this point in time specifically to like kind of derail some of the like agenda that's been going on, with the right side,
right?
And that's why everyone's saying that this guy's a Trump supporter. Like this, he's clearly trying to get people upset with Trump, and everyone's blaming it on Trump. And it's like, it's really interesting to me because one, yes, people are really starting to pay attention to what's going on, but two, like you said, there's been this huge influx of like political ads that are trying to get you to go vote. Like so many more organizations are more like prone to saying like, okay, something is so wrong, we just need to get people voting.
And I mean, you also had the situation that happened on Saturday with like the whole shooting at the synagogue,
right?
Which has just led to even more dialogue.
Yeah, and it's just, it keeps, I don't know, you just can't. It's crazy right now. Like we've got all of these both of these situations are just like kind of like unbelievable in a certain sense. Like every shooting is unbelievable to me because it's like I thought we had done this and realized that we were done with this, but we keep going on and doing, and there's another one, and then there's another one, and then there's these guys sending out pipe bombs.
Yeah,
and I don't know. To me, the whole thing is just like it's so chaotic, and it's so hard to really come to an understanding of what even really is real and what's not. because like it took less than 24 or right around 24 hours for Donald Trump to go right back to the fake news media, blah blah blah.
Sure, and I mean he even said that when it came down to the CNN, like they talking about how it was at CNN. They're like, and that was another thing that Vox was talking about. Was they're like, here's this politician, like should he be blamed for any of the pipe bomb thing? Like, is there any part that you can connect him to?
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I don't think that he's literally telling these people to send pipe bombs to the Clintons, to the Obamas, to CNN and stuff, he's not helping it. He's isolating particular groups of politicians or of people, not just Democrats. He's not just saying Democrats. He's saying Democrats like that crook Hillary, Democrats like Obama, the fake news stations like CNN, by him refusing on camera to talk to CNN a lot of times and stuff. That gives this like isolated extremist groups, that gives them the idea to go, yeah, well, obviously that's the bad guy. That's who the bad guy is. The president who we support says they're the bad guy.
Obviously. Right. And what I did find that was kind of interesting is like I started looking up statements from all the people who had been mailed bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And so Barack Obama basically called out Trump as a liar and saying, it brings up a couple of different points and where he's like, he's not spinning spinning it in a positive way. He's just outright telling you the opposite of what's going on. And so, like, to me, that was kind of crazy because, like, he was just coming right out with, like, look, this guy's lying to us, and we just need to, like, not see this as a Republican and Democrat issue anymore.
Yeah.
And we need political unity, kind of mirroring what Donald Trump was saying, at first.
Yeah.
And then if we go over to Hillary Clinton, she basically said the exact same thing about political unity, but she had nothing else to say on the matter. She actually seemed kind of like confused and befuddled in her whole interview. And then Joe Biden also came on and talked about it, and he basically agreed. He was like, this is a time where we really need political unity, which is obviously the theme of what they're all saying, but I don't know, just to me, like, it's so obvious that that's what we need as a country that, like, if it doesn't happen, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to be the fear monger kind of thing and stuff. And this is not, I'm not really worried about this at all. But one of the interesting things that I did notice within the writing system since all this happened too is Vice released an article that said, which did sound like fear mongering. Normally, I like a lot of Vice things, but this one did kind of sound like fear mongering to me, where it said, is the next civil war right around the corner?
Oh, yeah.
And like talks of civil war are right around the corner and stuff and everything. And I think that's a little bit extreme for right now. Like,
I agree. I mean, like, well, first off, like, a civil war now is totally different than what the Civil War was,
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't even really begin to talk about an actual civil war like that breaking out because, like, it's just not going to happen. Like, whichever side the government takes is the side that wins.
Sure. Well, and I think the thing is, like, I get the sentiment of the Civil War, like the idea of, like, the country's hyper divided, and some people are like, I don't want to be this, and there's the idea of, like, the worst case scenario is the collapse of the American country.
Right.
But I don't think that it's there yet. I don't. Yes, we're seeing violence. We're seeing extremists do horrible things.
Right.
I don't think, though, that we're seeing counters going on just yet.
Right.
Like, I don't think that, like, you're not seeing armed militias. You're not seeing splintered groups. You're not seeing, like, ravaging the countryside or anything like that. There's no incentive to violence just yet, so that's why I don't think civil war is about to happen.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I would say that most of the stuff that we have seen happen so far has clearly been, like, either acts of terrorism or, like, a standalone single person who is, I mean, usually got some sort of, like, mental handicap or some sort of, like, disorder that they're dealing with. And so, like, a lot of times they think that that's even what leads to a lot of the mass shootings is because, oh, this person's been taking, like, psychoactive drugs for, like, 30 years.
Right.
So, of course, they're a little weird, like, because you're not supposed to use those all the time.
No.
And, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And everyone really does seem to feel pretty much the same way, that, like, the way Donald Trump has been speaking on Twitter and talking to the world and how much he's been blasting the media. And then even after the media got sent, CNN got sent one of those pipe bombs and he went back to saying that it was still fake news media, it does kind of feel to me like it's proving the point that, like, Donald Trump's rhetoric in the media about the media is causing a lot of this, like, kind of, like, I would say, like, democratic kind of like hatred.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing. Part of me doesn't think that necessarily that Republicans are bad.
No,
like
not
I
at
think
all.
philosophically, there's nothing wrong with being fiscally conservative or other things like that. I think that now, though, you have this weird divide almost where it's this idea that like there's Republicans and then there's Trumpers.
Yeah.
Like within the Republican Party, there is this small collective that just keeps trying to grow and grow and grow and grow more power. I think there's a lot of Republicans out there that do want to compromise and other things like that, but I don't think that they're really getting their voice out.
Totally.
Or they're scared to get their voice out. I think that might be the other thing. I mean, with elections coming up, you don't want to isolate those Trump-supporting like electors because like if you get elected by Republicans and they like Trump and you go, I don't like Trump, they'll be like, maybe I'm not going to vote for a Republican.
Exactly.
I'm just not going to vote or something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Man, and that pretty much sums up what I feel like this whole thing is just we've got politics with a celebrity personality involved.
Right.
And because he's a celebrity personality who on the same day that the synagogue shooting happened, like he tweeted later about the baseball game that was going on that day and how the managers were making poor decisions for the baseball game. And it's like, well, why aren't you as the president a little bit more concerned about this shooting at this synagogue? And like, why is one tweet about it all you need to do? And then you can just go on to talking about whatever else nonsense. Like it feels like he's just like not paying attention or taking his role as seriously as people expect him to.
And I don't know if he does. I mean, like, obviously I'm not the president, but I think the thing is it doesn't seem like he is.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I would imagine anybody who was the president would take it extremely seriously and like really like it's just a lot of nitpicking because he's like the most communicated like president we've had.
Sure.
As far as like he just is a Twitter bomb basically.
I think he picks a lot of fights, and I think the thing is, honestly, I feel like if I were the same kind of person that got on Twitter all the time and picked a lot of fights, that I would have this problem with looking at my Twitter all the time. Like if I was like, oh, I'm going to pick a fight, and then I would just set my phone down for like an hour and a half just to let it simmer. That way I'm not constantly looking at my phone. And so maybe that's the thing. Maybe his actions on looking like he doesn't care is the fact that he tweets a lot and doesn't listen to anyone else.
Pretty much.
He doesn't like rebuttals.
But yeah, no, I totally see what you mean. He really doesn't like rebuttals, and I think he's definitely used to having the last word because he's been such a big business mogul.
Yeah,
he's used to saying, "This is how it is." And then that's how it is.
It's well, and that's the thing is, I don't want to throw around the authoritarian word, but in business, as the CEO, you're an authoritarian.
Exactly.
Like you have full control.
Yeah, because it's your business.
In a democracy, you don't have full control. You are the representative that the people chose, but you don't have direct control.
Exactly. And I feel like that kind of mindset is reflected in something he did really recently, where he's like talking about wanting to sign an executive order that will make it to where like there's not born on soil rights. It's all blood rights for immigrants.
Blood rights, yeah. It's like you have to be a citizen in order for your family to become citizens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, you know, like I don't know enough about that topic, and I haven't researched enough of it to really have an opinion on it. But all that matters to me is that he is in the middle of this very heated battle with immigration, and he's just going around saying, turns out I can just do it with an executive order.
And I think personally, I think it's scary for a lot of people. Like, I get the whole idea, like, if you're afraid of immigrants and you go, oh, well, immigrants, all they want to do is come across the border and have all their babies, and then their babies have citizenship, and then they can take away my rights 20 years down the road. But I think the thing is, maybe there's, like, one or two cases of someone crossing the border to deliberately have their baby in a country so that their kid has a citizenship. I think most of the time when kids of immigrants are born here, it's out of sheer coincidence and happenstance. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the few, you can use the straw man argument of here's an example and here's an example, and 98% of the rest of the examples are not that case at all.
Right. What do you guys think about this?
That's
we'll
right.
talk a little bit. We want to know what you're thinking, so let us know down in the comments below if you see this.
That's right. And if you want to keep hearing us, like and subscribe at there and there, I think.
And then also make sure you hit that bell so that you know whenever we're uploading new stuff, because we've got this new format now. So we got a video today that was Wednesday, just came out. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
We've got our new media segment coming out on Friday this week. And then the following Monday we'll have our second video sketch.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, have a good one.
Okay,
See you later.
Peace.